You know that feeling, right? You give students the same fantastic LinkedIn advice over and over, but when you check their profiles, they still feel a little flat. Well, today, we're diving into a tool built to fix that exact problem, the LinkedIn Profile Optimizer. We're going to see how it can help you turn those profiles from digital resumes into real hardworking career assets for your students. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get real about the underperforming profile, we all know it well. Then, we'll introduce the solution, skill number 4. We'll peek under the hood to see how it works, check out what it actually gives you, and wrap up with how you can start using this in your own practice, like tomorrow. Sound good? Let's jump in.
All right, let's start with ground zero. This is a challenge we all face every single day. The student LinkedIn profile that just isn't doing any of the heavy lifting. This, right here, just says it all, doesn't it? It's the heart of the issue. A student has a profile, they've checked it off the to-do list, but it's just sitting there. It's totally passive. It's not out there making connections or sparking conversations for them. So why is that?
Well, it almost always starts right at the top, with the headline. We've all seen it 1,000 times. Student at University of whatever. And yeah, it's accurate, but wow, what a missed opportunity. For a recruiter scrolling through profile after profile, it's basically invisible. It does nothing to stand out.
And then you have the About section. This is supposed to be the prime real estate for showing off some personalities, some professional identity. But what do we find? Usually, it's either totally empty or it's a paragraph so generic you could literally copy and paste it onto anyone's profile and no one would notice.
Oh, and here's the big one, the experience section. It almost always reads like a boring job description, just a list of tasks. It tells a recruiter what the student was supposed to do, not what they actually achieved. And then the, 6 seconds a recruiter spends on a profile, that list of duties is a one-way ticket to keep on scrolling.
Okay, so that's the problem. It's frustrating for us as coaches, and it's a real handicap for our students. But what if there was a way to systematically fix all of this? This is where the solution comes in.
Yep. Skill 04 is designed to change all of that. It's the tool we can use to turn that passive, underperforming profile into something active, compelling, and genuinely professional.
So what is this thing really? Think of the LinkedIn Profile Optimizer as an AI assistant that does way more than just offer tips. It does a full analysis of a student's profile against a career they're actually aiming for. And then, this is the key part, it actually rewrites the headline, the About section, and the experience bullets to maximize their impact.
So how does it actually pull this off? It's not just a fancy grammar checker. It uses a really smart 5-dimensional framework to analyze just how effective a profile really is. Let's break down what those 5 dimensions are. These are the 5 pillars, the core criteria the tool uses for its evaluation. It's this really holistic approach, right? It looks at everything from the hard data of keywords and searchability to the more human element of their tone and voice. Let's dig into the big question behind each one. First up, discoverability. And honestly, this is the most fundamental question of all. If a recruiter is searching for candidates for a job, will this student's profile even show up in the results? Because if the answer is no, well, nothing else really matters, does it?
Next is clarity. We know recruiters make decisions in a flash. So in those first few seconds, does the profile instantly tell them who this person is, what they bring to the table, and where they want to go, or is it a confusing puzzle that the recruiter just doesn't have time to figure out?
And we're back to this critical point, strength of evidence. Does the profile actually provide proof of their impact? The optimizer looks closely to see if the experience section reads like a highlight reel of accomplishments, or just that boring list of job duties. You know, a profile with a bunch of empty sections just looks unfinished, or maybe even like the person isn't that motivated. So the tool audits the entire profile and flags those high-impact areas, like recommendations or projects that are either missing entirely or are just too thin.
And finally, tone and voice. This is so important. This is what makes a profile actually connect with someone. Does it sound authentic? Does it feel like a real person with a distinct professional personality? The optimizer is literally evaluating whether the language feels human or if it sounds like it was spit out by a robot.
Okay, so the AI runs this 5-part analysis. Then what? What do you actually get at the end? This is where the tool goes from being a cool piece of tech to being your new best friend in coaching. It doesn't just grade the profile. It hands you a full toolkit of content to work with.
And this is the output. It's this incredibly rich toolkit. You get a full assessment,
several strategic headline options to choose from, a complete draft of an About section, improved experience bullets. I mean, it even gives you a keyword strategy and a checklist for what's missing. And my favorite part? It creates coaching notes just for you, the advisor.
This is just a brilliant example of how strategic the tool is. It doesn't just spit out one right headline, it gives you choices. So look here. The top one is what you'd call identity forward. It's great for networking. The bottom one is jam-packed with keywords, which is perfect for getting found in recruiter searches. And it explains the trade-off, so the student can make a smart, informed decision. And this is so crucial. The content it generates is designed to sound real. It's written in the first person, and it tells a story that feels like it's coming from an actual motivated person. This is what helps students finally break away from that generic, cookie-cutter language we see all the time.
Okay, this is all really cool, but the big question is, how does this actually plug into our day-to-day work? Let's get into the final section and look at some concrete strategies for your workshops and one-on-one sessions.
Okay, check out these 3 high-impact ways to use this. First, for workshops, you can use those headline options and before and afters as amazing teaching examples. The workshop practically writes itself. For your one-on-ones, the 5-point assessment becomes your session agenda. And for employer panels, that keyword report is a powerful way to show students a real behind-the-scenes look at how recruiters actually find talent.
And this is where it all clicks into place. Just imagine your coaching sessions. With this tool, your prep time is going to plummet, but the quality of your session is going to skyrocket. Every single item on the sample agenda is directly tied to a concrete piece of AI-generated content. You're not just talking about theory anymore. You're actively building a better profile side by side with the student.
So I'll just leave you with this one question. We started by talking about that passive profile, the one that's just sitting there. But what if we could flip that on its head? What if every single one of your students had a profile that was actively, intelligently, and authentically advocating for them 24/7? That's the potential we're talking about here.